With high-speed record-breaking aircrafts in the mid of the 20th century, engineers turned their brains on their long-time dream of creating high-speed cars. Cars that could go as fast as possible without becoming airborne or losing control of the vehicle. By the end of the century, engineers had achieved a car that could move faster than sound, a land vehicle that moved on the surface of Earth but still break the sound barrier. Built like spaceships, here are the 10 fastest cars to travel on the surface of Earth. But before we jump into our list, be sure that you have subscribed and hit the bell icon, such that you don't miss out on our series of the fastest vehicles on land, water, air, underground, and in space, that will be published every week. Number 10. Birkeland 411 Streamliner. After years of hard work and struggle, Tom Birkeland, the Birkeland Streamliner and the Birkeland family finally made an important step towards the final goal of breaking the wheel-driven record. The record was set in 2008 at the Bonneville Salt Flats, Utah, with the Reed official top speed of 415.896 miles per hour over a 1-mile run. The car reached a maximum of almost 428 miles per hour. To achieve this speed, they used the power of two 492 CI Donovan Hemi engines that were able to send a combined output of 3,000 horsepower to all four wheels. To reduce friction and drag, the body was shaped like an airplane with no wings or tail. The nose was formed from a spun aluminum aircraft tip tank and carries 57 gallons of water to cool the engines. Stainless steel fuel tanks were located, one on each side of the driver's compartment, and are designed to break away in case of an accident. Although the car is 24 feet long and constructed out of steel and stainless steel, it weighs in at just about 4,200 pounds. Speed Demon Streamliner. In September 2010, George Poteet made a serious attempt to break the flying mile and flying kilometer record for piston-engine wheel-driven cars. 2 years later, the team put their work on test to set an official record for the world's fastest piston-driven car. Unfortunately, the team did not get their intended speed of 450 miles per hour, but they did manage to get an official speed of 439 miles per hour in 2012, after a series of lower speeds in the previous tests. The Speed Demon used a 4.9L Hellfire V8 engine able to put out an astonishing 1,980 horsepower to the ground. The main engineer behind the project and the person who built all the engines for the Speed Demon, Kenny Duttweiler, stated the team's intention on soon breaking the overall world record for a wheel-driven car, currently held by Vesco Turbinator II, is soon coming. Challenger 2. Mickey Thompson, father to American car racer Danny Thompson, is credited as being the first person to exceed the 400 miles per hour mark. He did so in 1960 behind the wheels of his Challenger 1. 8 years later, he constructed the Challenger 2, which he hoped would become the world's fastest piston-driven car. Unfortunately, Mickey never got to see his dream come true and murdered with his wife in 1988. Mickey's son, Danny, took on the determination to achieve what his father set out to do over 50 years earlier. He dusted off the old Challenger and packed it two 2,500 horsepower nitro-fueled Hemi V8 motors, connected to all four wheels aside from additional aerodynamic features. Danny was now finally ready to return with his Challenger 2 to the Bonneville Salt Flats and claim its record, which it did claimed. The aero-like machine entered the record books on August 12, 2018 after roaring across the Bonneville Salt Flats at a two-way average speed of 448.8 miles per hour, becoming the world's fastest piston-driven car. Finalizing with the family dream. Vesco Turbinator II. In 2018, Team Vesco's Turbinator II broke the record for the world's fastest wheel-driven vehicle, after it posted a top speed of 482.7 miles per hour at the Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah. The vehicle once went better and broken the 500 miles per hour mark with a speed of 503 miles per hour. However, the 503 miles per hour top speed doesn't count as an official record, because it was only recorded going in one direction, but this was because of the weather conditions that made it impossible to go in the other direction. Vesco's Turbinator II has been the record holder for the fastest wheel-driven car since 2001, when it recorded a record-breaking 470 miles per hour top speed. The vehicle is driven by a Lycoming T55 turbine engine out of a CH 47 Chinook helicopter that produces 5,000 horsepower. The Vesco team consistently improved the vehicle throughout the years, and now believe in setting a new record of 600 miles per hour. Wingfoot Express. Walt Arfond's Wingfoot Express II was the first real rocket-powered contender for the outright land speed record. Walt Arfond designed a car often described as looking like an Atlas rocket lying on its side. The car surely looked like it would go faster than anyone before. Even a supersonic record seemed to be within reach, but eventually little success would come from the experience. With the initial 15 rockets configuration, the best top speed recorded was way below the record, which stood at 536.7 miles per hour. With the addition of 10 more rockets, success was still not at hand, even though driver Bobby Tatro reached a peak speed of 580 miles per hour. On one pass, Bobby was lucky to escape unhurt from a spectacular fire when one of the rockets dislodged and caused severe fire damage to the rear of the car at very high speed. The car, even if not an land speed record holder, is surely one of the most terrific designs that ever hit the Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah. Green Monster. With the Green Monster, we enter into the domain of jet-powered vehicles. Built by brothers Art and Walt Arfond, the Green Monster took the title for the fastest land vehicle from the renowned Craig Breedlove on multiple occasions, before ultimately losing the speed battle when Breedlove recorded a 600.6 miles per hour average speed in his Spirit of America in 1965. The last record it set was in 1965 when the car clocked in at an average of 576 miles per hour, before being subsequently beaten by the Spirit of America. Green Monster was powered by a surplus F-104 Starfighter General Electric J79 jet engine, producing 17,500 lb-f static thrust with 4-stage afterburner, which Arfond purchased from a scrap dealer for $600 and rebuilt himself, over the objections of General Electric and the government, and despite all manuals for the engine being classified as top secret. Spirit of America Sonic 1. Spirit of America was the first of the modern record-breaking jet-propelled cars. Built with a narrow streamlined fuselage, 3-wheel chassis, and, most significantly, turbojet engine. Like most of the other competing vehicles, the engine was ex-military. The first Spirit had a General Electric J47 engine from an F-86 and was tested at Bonneville Salt Flats in 1962, where difficult handling resulted in failure. Before trying again, a new stabilizer and steerable front wheel were added. A new Spirit was built over 1964 to 1965 to attempt to beat Arfond's. It was named Spirit of America Sonic I, a 4-wheel design with a much higher rated GE J79 engine originally from an F4 Phantom II, the same type as that used by Arfond's Green Monster. Another tit-for-tat with Arfond ended with Breedlove setting the record at 600.6 miles per hour on November 15, 1965, a record that stood until 1970, broken by Gary Gabelicka's the Blue Flame land speed record rocket car. The Sonic I vehicle is currently on display at Indianapolis Motor Speedway Hall of Fame Museum. Craig Breedlove is legendary when it comes to land speed records. With a resolve to test out the limits of how fast cars can travel, he was solely responsible for breaking the 400 miles per hour, 500 miles per hour, and in 1965, the 600 miles per hour speed barrier. The Spirit of America Sonic 1 is still one of the highest speeds vehicle a human being has ever traveled in on land. The Blue Flame. Breedlove's record stood for 4 years before being shattered by Gary Gabelick, who had managed to create an all-out rocket-powered car. Blue Flame is a rocket-powered land speed racing vehicle that was driven by Gary Gabelick and achieved the world land speed record on Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah on October 23, 1970. The vehicle set the FIA world record for the flying mile at 622.4 miles per hour, and the flying kilometer at 630.388 miles per hour. The car used a combination of high-test peroxide and liquefied natural gas, pressurized by helium gas. The effort was sponsored by the American Gas Association, with technical assistance from the Institute of Gas Technology of Des Plaines. The liquefied natural gas was able to push the car with nominal engine running time of 20 seconds at full thrust of 22,500 pounds, the equivalent of 58,000 horsepower. The highest speed the vehicle ever reached was approximately 650 miles per hour, and it took 13 years for the Blue Flame to be dethroned as the official fastest land vehicle in the world. Thrust II. Thrust II is a British-designed and built jet-propelled car, English Electric Lightning, producing 30,000 horsepower. Its configuration somewhat resembling that of the mid-1960s era J79 turbojet-powered land speed record cars of Green Monsters. On October 4, 1983, the car reached a top speed of 650.9 miles per hour and broke the record at 633. The bid was successful, and today Thrust II and its successor, Thrust SSC, are displayed at the Coventry Transport Museum in Coventry, England. Thrust SSC. Thrust SSC holds the world land speed record, set on October 15, 1997, when it achieved a speed of 763 miles per hour and became the first land vehicle to officially break the sound barrier. In 1997, British company Thrust set out to combine military know-how, government funding, and technological advancements to test out the limits of what's possible for a land vehicle. The speed record this thing set is so ridiculous that it still stands untouched to this day. Packed with two colossal jet turbines, the Thrust SSC's 1997 visit to the Black Rock Desert in Nevada left it the first and only land vehicle to break the sound barrier. Pushing out 110,000 horsepower as it accelerates, the SSC marked the Guinness Book of World Records with an astonishing 763 miles per hour official top speed. The vehicle is massive and more of a jet than a car, spanning 54 feet in length and 12 feet in width. It also weighs no less than 10.5 tons. The SSC is displayed at the Coventry Transport Museum in England, so you can go and see it for yourself.